Thanks, Chrissy. After a 10-year hiatus, a new lithium company emerges from the galaxy. Introducing Lithium Universe Limited, committed to building a lithium future. Now, if it sounds like and universe, well, you're right. Iggy Tan is back. Iggy started his time back in 1995, having commissioned the lithium carbonate plant for Greenbushes before moving on to spearhead Galaxy Resources, and took that company from what was a $10 million market cap to about $2.5 billion at merger with Orocobre. Now, Allkem as we know it today. During his time at Galaxy, he was first responsible for envisaging and delivering the first large-scale, vertically integrated mine-to-refinery project, including the Mount Cattlin project here in WA and the Jiangsu lithium carbonate plant in China. Mount Cattlin itself, it's a 1 million tonne per annum mining operation, leading through a 4-stage crushing circuit onto DMS, producing about 140,000 tonne of spodumene con per annum. That was then shipped to Jiangsu lithium carbonate plant in China. When Jiangsu was built, it was the biggest plant in China and remains today as a benchmark for process technology and process control, producing about 17,000 tonne per annum and above nameplate today. Allkem continue to operate the Mount Cattlin project here on the left, and Tianqi now own and operate the Jiangsu lithium carbonate plant. The main point to draw your attention to here, everyone, is probably the last dot point. The price of both spodumene concentrate and the price of lithium carbonate was about 10% of what it is today. So not only the ability to execute, but also the ability to execute in difficult financial conditions. Also joining us on the board is Pat Scallon. Pat ran Greenbushes for 25 years. He brings a very, very focused skill set, having expanded that plant from what was 200,000 tonne per annum to about 1.4 million tonne during his tenure. So why are we focused on Canada? Talking a little bit more broadly, Australia produced about 300,000 tonne of LCE in 2022, and really has, over the last couple of decades, cemented itself as a backbone to the Chinese lithium-ion battery chain. Now, in comparison, Canada is considered to be just as fertile as the early stages of the WA lithium industry. So now we're seeing an influx of lithium expertise and subsequent development expertise now coming into the country. And as Mr. Lithium Joe Lowry says, Canada wants to be the backbone to the North American lithium industry. A few words from Iggy Tan. So lithium projects are taking too long to come online in order to meet future demand. There are many lithium explorers, but not many actually have the expertise to execute projects. We're not here to explore for exploration's sake. We're here to build a project as quick as we can. The Apollo project for us is situated within James Bay, 240 square kilometres, and when it was first staked in early 2022, it was staked in between two up-and-coming juniors, still finding their feet in the market and on the ground. These two juniors are, of course, Patriot and Winsome Resources with their Adina project. We're in a 30-kilometre radius of both these projects. We're in the same greenstone belt, and these are becoming household names with lithium investors. Talking a little bit more broadly about why we like the Apollo project and why we like the James Bay region. Now, in the top right-hand corner here, we've done an international survey and developed a yardstick on what constitutes a good hit. 10 metres at 1.1 is a good hit, and 30 metres at 1.3% is traditionally a good hit. Now, what we're seeing at Patriot, we're seeing 156 metres at 2%. Down at Winsome Resources Adina, 107 metres at 1.34%. So using our yardstick, these are good, not neither good nor excellent, they're quite simply exceptional. And not only are they high grade and thick mineralisation, but also close to surface. So exploration on our Apollo licence continues. We've done an airborne magnetic survey, microgravity, and a full suite of very thorough rock chip sampling. What we're seeing within the region, talking a little bit more typically about the mineralisation style, is also the coarse spodumene component. We're seeing coarse spodumene at Allkem at the James Bay deposit. We're seeing coarse spodumene also within the Patriot and Winsome Resources projects. Now, what that means is, from a processing perspective, it just has to go through a four-stage crushing circuit rather than a ball mill, and then goes through a DMS rather than a flotation circuit, reducing initial capex and ongoing OPEX. Most importantly, this is the same type of project that Iggy built with Mount Cattlin. This is the 1992 Dream Team. Anyone can name a player, MJ, Pippen. Well, we've assembled the Lithium Dream Team. Obviously Iggy Tan, Pat Scallon, but also notably Jingwan Liu. Jingwan, he's considered to be an international downstream expert in lithium hydroxide and lithium carbonate. He was instrumental in the commissioning and operation of the Jiangsu plant, and still consults a specialist consultant to many of the conglomerates we hear about today. Terry Stark, left-hand side, accountable for the James Bay acquisition, which is now held by Allkem, and the operation of Mount Cattlin. And John Loxton on the right-hand side commissioned the Jiangsu plant when he was with Hatch. Down the bottom, Roger Pova. He's run both Greenbushes and Mount Cattlin from an operation and maintenance perspective. Hoi Nguyen designed and constructed Mount Cattlin. And then John Sobleski, who was with Galaxy during this time of huge growth. Talking a little bit more broadly about the company's strategy. Now, typically it takes about 8 to 10 years from maiden resource all the way through to first construction. Now, when Iggy built the Mount Cattlin project, he did it in under 3 years. Skipped scoping, skipped PFS, and went straight to DFS. At the time, a capital cost of under $90 million US. Talking downstream now, Kwinana, obviously by Tianqi, has been over the news here in WA. It's been plagued with issues, obviously. It's about 100% over schedule, 100% over budget. It continues to struggle to get up to that full design rate. We've seen the same thing in North America. North America Lithium, now owned by Sayona, and also the Masca plant with the Wabuchi mine have been plagued with issues, and the province and the federation is quite scarred by both these failed projects. Now, when Iggy and the team built Jiangsu, they did it in 25 months, from groundbreaking through to steady state production, including 6 months of commissioning. At the time, a capital cost of 120 million US. So why have these projects failed? Well, it boils down to one thing, and that's experience. Experience in operation, maintenance, and that's what we folded into our design, and why we brought the Dream Team in such an early stage of the project. Geopolitically, it's quite interesting, and David pointed to a few of these things in his presentation. In early 2022, the government ordered Cinnamine, a Chinese-owned company, to divest from Power Metals Corp in Ontario, and not only divest, but also relinquish the spodumene offtake. So this heralded a new moment, a strategic review, they called it, but definitely a step towards deglobalization and I think redefining the supply chain, I think you said, David. Now, what this means is it's not just words, it's actions, and it's heralded a lot of these companies, these junior explorers, to now look downstream a lot sooner, because that solution isn't offshore at China. So it's forcing downstream solution a lot sooner. So there's 3 main challenges in Canada. No production, obviously. We've got the government downstream requirement, and overall a lack of processing expertise. We're just rolling out the Quebec Lithium Processing Hub strategy. And no surprises here. It's what Iggy did back with Galaxy. It's a mine to battery grade lithium strategy, encompassing the same type of 1 million tonne per annum concentrator and 16,000 tonne per annum refinery. Now, the concentrator itself, it probably looks like a 5-year run-of-mine offtake with partnering with junior mines, similar to a hub and spoke strategy, similar to the early stages and continue to be within the gold industry today. Now, this not only brings cash flow forward for junior miners, but also provides the region an economic advantage to get going with the lithium production. After the 5-year run-of-mine offtake agreement, If there's life of mine after they've continued developing the resource, we would look to build concentrators on the mine after that 5 year as part of a JV agreement. Now going then downstream, we're building a refinery. So it's all obviously similar to the Jiangsu lithium carbonate plant that Iggy has a design for. And it's aligned with all the critical mineral strategies, both provincially and federally in Canada and Quebec. Now, we've got two other elements. We've talked about exploration. Now we've got the engineering study. We've engaged Primero. They've partnered up with us to deliver a multi-purpose standalone and centralised concentrator design based on the Mount Cattlin design, winterising it for the Quebec environment, and also bringing it up to today's pricing. Primero don't need any introduction in today's audience. They've obviously done a lot of work with Bald Hill, Covalent, and also work in James Bay with Allchem. Now, this is the flow sheet. The main differences from the Mount Cattlin to this flow sheet is we're going to put in a small flotation circuit in the back end just to pick up any fines that may come in with the different ore types that we receive. Then looking to the next step, the third business unit for us is the Quebec Lithium Processing Hub Engineering Study. So this refinery itself, we've partnered up with Hatch. Now Hatch, as I said before, they were instrumental in the delivery of the Jiangsu plant, and we're grabbing the Jiangsu design, we're putting it, we're winterising it, and we're bringing it up to international standards in Quebec. Bringing it to today's prices, and we should have something, a DFS level of study by the end of next year. Now, we've already published the flow sheet, which is pretty bold, and I'll say, true Iggy Tan style. It's exactly the same as the Jiangsu plant. So we already know the flow sheet, and we're progressing quite rapidly through that DFS. Now, talking a bit more broadly about Quebec, I mean, the James Bay region is quite well known these days, and what we're seeing is a huge lithium supply and potential built up there. There's about 50 explorers currently focused on lithium exploration in Quebec and James Bay. So we're seeing this huge supply. And then on the north, so I suppose the eastern side of North America, we've got about 50 new gigafactories and battery manufacturers coming online by the end of 2029. So we've got huge supply. We've got a very, let's say, hungry battery manufacturing industry, and currently no refineries. So we're going downstream first. We're building downstream first and then going upstream. So we're talking to many juniors, and we're currently, we've just completed the location study for the refinery itself. We've looked at 4 locations, the best from all the way from the northern Quebec to Abitibi, down towards the Montreal metropolitan area and onto Saguenay. Now, our preferred location is in the Montreal metropolitan area, a place called Bécancour. It ticks all the boxes, quite frankly. Utilities, we've got everything from natural gas through to hydropower. From a logistics perspective, we've got port, we've got highway, we've got rail infrastructure. Why we focus on lithium carbonate versus hydroxide quickly? Well, we've got very proven experience in lithium carbonate, so we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. And we actually, secondly, we see a push towards carbonate. Obviously, there's been a trend over the last couple of years towards hydroxide, but with the introduction of LFP batteries with Volkswagen and Tesla, we see a market share going in the favour of lithium carbonate. In terms of a merchant standalone lithium refinery, we don't need to look very far to find the margins that are coming out of these merchant refineries. Tianqi, the Jiangsu plant, you can see here the gross margins across 2021 and 2022. So we've got the Apollo Lithium project, we've got the Lithium Dream Team, and finally the Processing Hub strategy. So please join us on our mission to the universe.